Hi, my name is Jamal Igle, artist, creator of Molly Danger, and artist of the comic book series Black, and I'm going to draw a character near and dear to me, Marvel's Black Panther. So whenever I'm drawing anything, it always starts with basic construction. I tend to work very loosely at first. I don't want to really be too stiff, so try to make the initial drawing as gestural as possible. You just want to move fast and strike hard and get the base idea down. Sometimes you never even know what you want until you've got a skeleton of some sort. Especially with a character like Black Panther, you want him to be full of energy. When I was in school, I had a teacher who basically said that you can break any figure down to geometric shapes. So I always try to keep that in mind, but also trying to keep that same energy that I was talking about before. So you end up finding the anatomy within those geometric shapes, building it up, creating muscle, figuring out how the muscles move together in concert with each other. Everybody's got a different way of doing it. Some people are much more angular than I am. I tend to go for a much more naturalistic look as opposed to a lot of other superhero artists. But I think part of that was the fact that part of my high school education was sitting at the feet of a fashion illustrator as opposed to a traditional comic book artist. And then pretty much everything else that I know about drawing superheroes came from either reading comic books or on-the-job training. Never be afraid to erase things. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is comic book art. I know what I want to do next, which is to ink. Part of my sort of rediscovery over the last few years of doing primarily either creator-owned work or stuff that I have a stake in personally, even if it's not something that I created, but I'm working with other talented creators, is it gave me the opportunity that I didn't have when I was working for a larger company, which was to explore things that I'd put to the side for years because I was concentrating either on just being a penciler or being an inker. I did a story recently as a writer for a Planned Parenthood anthology that's going to be coming out in a couple of months. During my formative years, it was impressed upon me to learn anatomy by several of my teachers. Because, especially since I don't spend all of my time just doing superheroes. I've done so many different types of projects over the years. I've done, biographies, I've done, storyboards, I've done animation, things that require a vast knowledge of drawing skills and techniques. So, anatomy, learn it, know it. I did a Starship Troopers cartoon back in the early 2000s, and the way we were working was I was a journeyman storyboard artist, so everything that I was doing was being done on 2x2 Post-it notes and being handed into the director. And the reason why we were doing it that way is that you could move things around on the board, and if something needed to be taken out, especially during the timing phase, then you could make rapid changes that way. And I call it storyboard boot camp because you had to work fast, you had to be able to do things on the fly. You didn't have an opportunity to be afraid of screwing up. And I learned more about sequential art just doing storyboards that way for 4 months than I did for years working in comics even before then. It gave me a different perspective because one of the things that I began doing was the way that I lay out pages is that I actually work very, very small. My full comic book page is 11 inches by 17 inches. My initial layout is about 3 inches by 4.5 inches. So I'm able to work out all the perspective, all the storytelling in the layout stage. And that was something that I picked up, drawing on these little 2x2 Post-it notes. Well, I grew up as a DC fan, so I didn't discover the Black Panther until I was in high school, actually, because one of my dearest friends was a huge Marvel fan, so that was sort of the rivalry, like who's better, Marvel or DC. And but I think my biggest in my head, the version of Black Panther that sticks out to me always is Christopher Priest and Sal Velluto during the Marvel Knights era. Oh yeah, you really don't get a full assessment of how much of a badass T'Challa is as a character until later on, much later on. And I think also that the late Dwayne McDuffie did a really good job of showing that in Fantastic Four. T'Challa is one of those characters where it's easy to for a lot of people to discount him, but you've got a hero who is one of the smartest men on the planet, a king, someone of regal bearing, someone of majesty and of power, and that's important to see. I'm excited for the Black Panther movie. I think it's going to be amazing. It just looks amazing so far. I don't even want to watch any more trailers because I don't want to spoil it for myself. Hi, I'm Jamal Igle, and this is the Black Panther.